Hello and welcome to episode 8 of the brand new European Cricket Studio. I'm Michael McCann, and down below, ready and eager to join, is Joe Gatting from the England champions Swardston last year, set to be involved in ECL 20 until, of course, due to COVID-19, it was unfortunately postponed. Thank you very much for being with us wherever you are in the world. Nearly a half century of people on the stream right now. Of course, later on, we've got a big announcement from Dan Weston about all things ECL 21. But for a start of the 10, how are you this afternoon, Joe? And what exactly is your isolation setup?
I'm very well, thank you. My lockdown situation is that I am in Brighton, in England, in sunny Brighton. And I'm actually at my mum and dad's house. As I got back from Adelaide probably 4 weeks ago with the intention of travelling up to Norfolk after a few days, and obviously the lockdown has prevented that. So yeah, I'm still at home with my mum and dad. So it's been quite nice to actually spend some nice time with my family. Albeit I had to leave my wife and son in Adelaide, which is not ideal, but it's the situation it is.
So you just come back, for those that don't know, from a winter in Australia, which is obviously a very standard convention of an almost 50-50 diet of one half of the year in Europe somewhere and one half in Australia that plenty of club cricketers use.
Yeah, I'm not a great fan of the winter, as many people know, or who know me. So yeah, I go back to Australia. My wife's from Adelaide, and obviously my son's very fortunate. He's got dual citizenship. So we've been back quite a few times in the last 10 years, and my son's just started school out there. So we're going to gradually make our way out there in the long-term future.
So for those who maybe want to know a bit about Joe, obviously with a name like Joe Gatting, there is always going to be certain things that come up with that surname. One thinks of Uncle Mike Gatting, of course, captain of England, and following in his father's footsteps initially, our former Arsenal defender Steve, because you actually started out playing football at Brighton for a period of time in your late teens. And then at 21, having stopped playing cricket for 5 years, came back to cricket to play for Sussex and Hampshire, before now at this point coaching as well as being captain of Swardston. I'm not going to give the classic endless questions that you're probably used to and very bored of about those famous relatives. But in terms of your sporting journey, is there one highlight from your cricket and football careers that really stands out?
I think probably in the football days, I think my debut at Southampton was a standout, because obviously any young guy's dream is probably to play football, and I was very fortunate enough to do that. And I think my debut at Southampton at the new ground at the time against some good players, the Gareth Bales was playing I think at that time, so that was a standout. Also, I played a game against Arsenal in a behind closed doors friendly, and that was against their first team. So to share a football field with the likes of Dennis Bergkamp, Sol Campbell, Robin van Persie was obviously a dream, to see these players up close. So that was a pretty good memory. Cricket-wise, I think there's been a few standouts. Obviously, again, making my debut for Sussex, from playing football to cricket within such a short period of time was a memory of mine. And playing in the Champions League in Delhi for Sussex in that first year of mine, playing against the best players in the world, was an amazing achievement. And obviously, just recently winning the club national competition at Lords with Swardston was also a great memory.
In terms of that moment with Swardston, how did that compare as high to your actual experience in professional cricket?
I think it was different. I think I was lucky enough to be in that professional environment where those kind of games come around more often. But I think just sharing a pitch with some really close friends of mine and watching them have the experience of playing at Lords, which again I was very fortunate to play there quite a few times. It was a different feeling, but it was just great to see guys have that opportunity, which they probably would have dreamt not to, and also see the guys at the club have put so much hard work behind the scenes to see their club play at Lords and obviously win was very emotional for a lot of players and and members of the club. So yeah, it's a great day out, and yeah, it was a different kind of feeling for me, but it was up there with the best.
And did you watch the European Cricket League last year? Were you aware of it? Did you hear about the furore surrounding it? And particularly the Pavel Florin story is probably one of the most memorable aspects of that tournament. How much of an impact did it have in English club cricket? When did you first hear discussions about it?
I think obviously the story with Flavel was it popped up a lot, and it was great to see, and it was such an amazing footage to see someone with that much passion for the sport. And then obviously by seeing that footage, you become aware of this European Cricket League, which at the time I didn't really know much about. But obviously, the more you look into it, it was a great competition for the lucky teams. And obviously, it's got expanded with the idea of playing this season. But obviously, unfortunately, it's had to be postponed. But look, it's a great thing. What Dan Weston's doing for European cricket is fantastic. And any team, any player who have the opportunity to be part of that is just an amazing achievement. And look, I think hopefully next year it should be over. Well, hopefully this pandemic will be over, and hopefully we can get back going and make it even bigger and better.
Well, exactly. And we will have, for those who are tuning in, maybe just joining the stream, thank you very much for being with us. We will have that big ECL 21 announcement with European Cricket League founder Daniel Weston. Worth remembering, of course, there's also the Dream 11 European Cricket Series and the European Cricket Network. It's all about growing that European cricket community. Just jumping back to your county experience, Joe, it ended in 2015 with Hampshire, whereby in that last season you didn't get many opportunities, but when you did, you were top of the averages in first-class cricket. And delving back into your very last game, which I'm sure you'll remember, you got 43 and 31 not out in a win against an attack that had Chris Wokes, Keith Barker, Jeetan Patel. There's another well-known name who I'm missing. It was a very strong Warwickshire attack. And then you didn't get an opportunity to keep going after that year. How disappointing was it, the way things ended in county cricket for you?
It was slightly disappointing. I think that last year at Hampshire, I got a lot of runs in the second team. I made a few changes within my game, and I think I got opportunity to play because I think Sean Irvine got injured. I think he broke a hand possibly. So yeah, I got into the side and had quite a good run. Played 6 games. Like you said, I think I topped that the first class average in the club. So yeah, it was probably the first time in my career where I felt like I understood my game properly, because as you mentioned earlier, I played football between 16 and 21. So those years, normally you have a lot of development time as a player. You learn about yourself a bit more. You learn about your game. You kind of bit of trial and error. So you fail quite a bit, but then you learn how to do all that and get better. But I think the process of me from playing football to cricket happened so quickly, within under a year. And look, getting straight into the 13 was great. It was a great achievement for the work I put in that winter. But obviously, I was trying to understand my game, learn what works, what doesn't work, while playing in the first class cricket, playing against some of the best players in the country. So I got to the point for the first time in my career, like I said, where I just understood what I needed to do. I worked out a game plan. I was happy where my technique was, and I felt comfortable. So, and obviously the results kind of mirrored that. But yeah, end of the season, I think Hampshire was signing Topley, a very good left-arm seamer from Essex, and obviously that took a bit off their wage budget, and they felt like their top 6 were pretty penned in for the next couple of years, and I'd been back up again, which I felt like my performances possibly earned the right to play again. But yeah, and they thought that they could sign 2 young players who in 2 or 3 years' time could be at the stage where if one of the top 6 retired, they would have kind of slid into that lineup. So obviously it wasn't meant to be at Hampshire, and that's pro sport, I guess, for you. Sometimes you've got to be a little bit fortunate. You have a bit of luck, a bit of luck, and that's how it is. And look, I got no complaints. I had lots of opportunity, but yeah, it's a shame that I felt like I stopped playing professional cricket when I was probably getting a better understanding of my game. And like I said to a few people in interviews, that I truly think I'm a better cricketer now at 32 than I ever was playing professional cricket. So look, it's a shame that I couldn't keep challenging myself in that environment. But look, it's a Swardson's gain, and I'm still enjoying my cricket as much as ever. And yeah, so be it.
Well, you signed last year a 3-year contract with Swardston that you're in the middle of, and you've already built up quite a history and affinity with the club, stacking up the runs, stacking up the hundreds, and then, of course, with your coaching academy contributing in another way. Is coaching the direction you're moving in now?
Yeah, so I've got a huge passion for coaching, and look, when I look back on my career, I've had coaches who I've really enjoyed, and they got the best out of me, and sometimes coaches who didn't quite get the best. And it's not putting the blame on anyone. It's just that some people click with other people, and it's just about people's coaching philosophies and how they do it, basically. But I kind of look back on that through football and cricket and understood that I think coaches can kind of gain an understanding in all individuals, and that's where I'm taking my coaching. So I believe that you got to coach the individual and not so much what you believe in, because at the end of the day, if the individual, if you can find individual strengths and their motivations and what works for them, that's a great kind of platform for their success. And I think sometimes coaching wise, sometimes we coach things which don't actually really make a difference. So yeah, so I'm just trying to put through all my experiences through what I've had, what's worked for me. I've done some study, got a degree last year. I've done a 3-year degree at the Open University, and also my coaching badges. And yeah, I'm just trying to give everyone I come in contact with on the coaching side just the best for them, treat them as an individual. And yeah, they've got a huge passion that if we work together and work with their strengths and their beliefs, that they can really achieve huge things.
Now, we have also got Joe back, which is brilliant and very kind of him, for the interactive show on Wednesday, which is more about viewers firing in their questions and their comments. And of course, we've got the same format on Thursday with Vin Sandhu, who's got Eugene Molian from Svanholm Cricket Club along as his guest. Remember, the European Cricket Instagram studio show can be found Monday to Thursday at 5 p.m. Central European time. We are just going to fire in one question that's come in today, which I think is a misspell and is meant to be, who was your idol growing up? So who was your idol, both in terms of cricket and football, Joe?
Football is a weird one. When I was growing up, I used to be a goalkeeper. So I used to love Peter Schmeichel. I was a Man United fan, and Schmeichel was someone who I used to pretend to be in the garden. And I guess when I got slightly older and I started playing more out pitch, I probably had two. I used to love David Beckham. I just loved what he did and how he went about his football with a youngster. And then I think in the end, I really enjoyed Cantona, Eric Cantona, the way he owned the football pitch and he kind of played at his own speed. And I think someone with no pace but could get so much space on a football pitch was impressive. And the way he kind of had that arrogance on the pitch was something which I really enjoyed watching him do his craft. Cricket-wise, I think it'd be easy to say Mike Gatting, as he was my uncle and obviously an idol which you want to watch and him do well. But it's a bit of an odd one, but I used to love watching Andrew Symonds from Australia, because I think the way he played the game, he batted, he bowled, he bowled seam, he fielded. Again, he had that bit of arrogance where he owns his space, and I just really loved to watch him play. So every time I saw him, I remember he was playing in England, so he used to be on Sky Sports playing in these one-day games, and he used to kind of, yeah, it used to be like watching a man playing a boys game, and yeah, I used to love watching him play, and yeah, so it's a bit of a strange one, but yeah, I liked him.
I'm sure plenty of the Australians who are heavily involved in European cricket will be delighted to hear you give Roy, as he's also known, a shout out. Vinny Sandhu, my co-presenter from the European Cricket Studios, actually just commented saying, loved Simon's, my favourite too. But certainly maybe not the answer many might have expected from you, given your roots. And just quickly, before we finally go along to that big ECL 21 announcement, just talk us through the progression that Swardston have had as a club. to get to the point where you're winning that T20 at Lords? Because there's lots of big cricket clubs, and more traditionally, it does tend to be the sides from the north that are very strong. Sesse from Yorkshire come to mind, who seem to be always right up there. And how much of an achievement was it for you guys to do that? And what was the process of building a side that led to it?
I think I've been fortunate that I've come along at that club for the last 4 years when I think all the hard work had already been done. So obviously what the club had done behind the scenes and on the pitch for the last 10, 15 years, or even when it got founded, I think behind the club, the structure of the pitch is top drawer. The guys who on the committee are trustees and members, even the ground staff, they're all pushing in the same direction, which is quite rare in amateur sport, any sport really. And obviously the players have the sole enjoyment of playing sport with their friends. Obviously we're fortunate that we've got a good set of lads who, number one, love each other's company, but two, which quite rare, they're very good cricketers. And I think with those two kind of blending together, that's a great recipe for success. And look, since I've been to the club, we've had 4 great years, and we've been very fortunate to win the T20 competition 3 times, but obviously twice in the last since 2016, and obviously won the big one, which was at Lords last year. So I can't give you the answer to that because I wasn't there when it happened, but all I can say is what the members and the committee and the players do for the club is something which I've never seen before from a club side. So they should get all the rewards, and obviously we're fortunate enough we get to play and enjoy that. So obviously I think every player at the club, I can personally say thank you to the club for allowing us the opportunity to do what we love, and obviously winning titles and trophies is just icing on the cake.
Well, that's a fantastic message, Joe, and that is something that really embodies exactly what this European cricket project is about, right from the bottom to the top. You've got the Champions League of European cricket, which is the European Cricket League, but the Dream 11 European Cricket Series and everything else that is going on surrounding this project to celebrate volunteers like that and everybody who makes the game possible. Thank you so much for your time today, Joe. We will head on to the big ECL 21 announcement, but it will be great to have you back on Wednesday where people can fire in their questions. But for now, goodbye, and thanks so much for your time, Joe.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Joe. So that was Swardston skipper Joe Gatting, just chatting a bit about everything that he's done with the current English T20 champions, who would have been playing at ECL 20 before it was postponed due to the coronavirus. And now we can move on to the big ECL 21 announcement with ECL founder, the man who's been behind the whole European cricket project, Daniel Weston, who has taken this from something that started with German Cricket TV into something sweeping across the continent, and now is here to deliver another big piece of news within that European cricket story. ECL 21, we already knew that ECL 20 was off, Dan, but give us the news. What's happening for ECL 21?
Hi, Michael. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we can all hear you. We're
Yeah,
all
great.
ready and waiting.
Geez, you've talked up the big news. So I'm in a nervous situation here. But thanks for recognising it as big news, and just thanks for what you're doing for the show. We started this 2 weeks ago, and you've done a fantastic effort. And just to see how we're trying to use Instagram and these new technology platforms as a way to communicate to the European cricket community is awesome. And the job that you're doing is fantastic, and it's not easy to be playing with the mobile and the lighting and all these sort of things. You're doing a great job, so well done. I've had a little bit to do with Swardston and Stuart Bartram there, for several months now, when we were talking to the ECB and about getting their champion T20 club in. Can't speak highly enough of that club and the setup and the people that I've met and talked to in that setup there. That's the first time I've seen Joe, but really enjoyed listening to what he had to say. But we had the first Dream 11 European Cricket Series event in Alicante, and Eddie Ballard was there playing, and he couldn't speak any more highly of Joe and Swardston and the club and the culture that they're creating there. So it's fantastic to see. And I think ever since we started this European Cricket community and league and studio and everything. It's all about relationships and people and clubs. And if the community and the club is strong, then the game will grow. So that's what we've got to keep focusing on. When it comes to the big announcement, it's difficult to make these announcements in these times. The first really positive news and exciting news that we've got is that ECL 21 will be happening, right? So maybe you might flick something up on the screen there. ECL 21 will happen next year from Sunday 30th of May to the Sunday the 6th of June at La Manga Club Resort in Spain. We had the phone call from La Manga making us aware of the government directive from Spain to say that we could not host ECL 20, which is really tough news for all of us and for the community. We have continued our booking, obviously, and just pushed it back 1 year. So Saturday the 29th of May, I think, is the Champions League final of football. And on Sunday the 30th of May starts the Champions League of European cricket. And I can't wait, and obviously, hopefully, a lot of other people can't wait for that all to begin. I'm sorry that it's going to take a whole summer and more to wait for it to kick off, but it will kick off, and I'm excited and positive for that to be there. Now, the difficult part about qualifications, we've come to a decision and an understanding that if in the ECL Federation countries there are no national club championships being played, so if there is no national club championship to be completed in 2020, then the current 2019 champions qualified currently will be automatically qualified for ECL 21. Okay, so if we can't find a domestic champion this year, then the automatically qualified from ECL 20, so the current group that we've got, including Swaderston, will play in ECL 21 next year. Okay. Now, the next complication, and there is always complications to things, is if the national club championships are being completed in 2020. So let's say there's a situation where cricket can be played in May, fingers crossed, but June, July, August, if we're in a situation where our 15 countries can play their national tournaments and find a club champion, then the federation is going to be left with two options. And we feel this is the fairest way to go about a very difficult situation. Option one will be that the winner of the 2020 National Club Championships will qualify for ECL 21. Or option two is that there would be a playoff between the 2019 National Club Champions and this year's 2020 National Club Champions. Obviously, if they're two different teams. So they're the two options, and whichever option is to be chosen by the National Federation. We had thought of different ways to do this, but we feel as though this, in an uncertain time, seems to be a way of bringing some certainty as to what happens now this summer, with myself and everyone knowing about how excited clubs and players are in playing in the ECL, which is a great news for all of us. There's never, in these uncertain times, never good or bad news. It's just that the way it is that we will know only after these coming months who will be playing in ECL 21. So if you flick to the next slide there, we've got a recommendation that we would like to bring forward based on sportsmanship and a way of doing what we feel was really unfortunate, that the coronavirus came and got in the way of what was some fantastic performances and the teams that won last year, including Swaderston. Our recommendation to the federations that we're talking to all the time is that if in 2020 National Club Championships are able to be taken place, then we, the ECL, recommend to the national federations option two, which is that if you can play and find a national champion, which is not the same team as the national champion last year, then we would be supportive of a playoff to be played between last year's champions and this year's champions, which will create the latest champion team to therefore play in ECL 21. And we'd like that decision to be made, we expect that decision to be made by the federations, either by the end of the season which could be if a season is if the season is cancelled in June or July or August, then if the cancellation of the season would mean that the 2019 qualifiers will play in 21, or at latest by the end of November will be the time when national federations need to tell us who is qualified for ECL 21, and that's the big news. I wish it was bigger. It might make some people excited, some people disappointed. Some uncertainty is still there, and I apologise for that. But I think what's important in the long term is that we're playing the Champions League of European cricket, and the feedback that I get is everyone's excited to be involved, whether they had qualified or not qualified. I apologise for this situation, but the good thing is the game's growing. The game's going to get better. It's going to be seen by more people. There's more clubs. There's more fans. There's more volunteers. There's people like Joe have more people to coach. There's facilities being built. There's Olympic federations that are bringing cricket on board throughout Europe. So the game's going to grow. It's going to be better than ever once this virus pandemic moves on. And we'll look back at this time as one of the toughest times for European cricket, because I believe that the future of European cricket is bright and an exciting one. And that's why you, Michael, and myself and the rest of the team, everyone involved, from the federations, the clubs, the players, and the small part that we're playing in this whole big engine that we're creating, is going to have a brighter future. So that's where that's the big announcement for today, Michael.
And speaking of that European cricket project, it is north of €1 million that's been invested in European cricket since it begun. I assume for everybody watching on this stream, either live or back on YouTube, that you're also able to confirm that that aspect of it isn't going to go away as well in helping that development. And in terms of prize money for ECL 21, that will be there as well to help continue to facilitate that development. Yeah.
Well, the first point was that Lamunga Club is booked for next year, May 30. We're there. We haven't got a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year plan for this. We've got a multi-decade or a generational plan for this, because Joe's kids, they want to be playing cricket in the future. And if he decides to move to Adelaide, then I wish him good luck moving to Adelaide with his young family. But there's a whole lot of current cricketers in Europe that are having children right now, that they're probably homeschooling or hopefully throwing a ball at them. But this is a process of having kids in the future, just like Joe, that are playing football in the winter and cricket in the summer. And whether that's in England, Ireland or Scotland, or whether it's in places like Spain, France, Italy or Germany, where a lot of kids just play football. So not only is ECL 21 going to happen once the world's clear, but there's multi years and decades of a plan here to make this thing big and great and wonderful for summer.
And certainly in terms of ECL's hook, with the fact that the Champions League of European cricket starts the day after the Champions League of European football has concluded. Any closing comments for everyone watching or wondering, anything else you just wanted to add, or just feel free to chip in, Dan? Or have you said the piece?
Yeah, I can see a few love hearts there. I can see a few comments there. Look, the community is what's important. So in these types of moments, the coronavirus has meant look after each other, look after your family, look after what's important to us, and that's our game of cricket. And when all other things are happening around us, it's just time to take stock and say, look, we'll be a stronger community together, and we'll move forward together. And that's and I guess that's my closing moment. So I know that there'll be some excited clubs or some disappointed clubs, and I feel for them on both sides of the table. But look, I can't wait to get back down to Lamunga Club and see everyone there and sort of talk about how tough this year was. But going through those tough moments will make us stronger.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for your time, Dan. And I know that the team back of house, behind the scenes, have been working incredibly hard on working out what best to do and how best to move forward. And it's good that some kind of certainty has been put in place. And I know we'll continue to find out those ECL 21 teams more as time goes on. But for now, thank you very much, Dan.
Thanks, Michael.
So there you go. That's the big announcement from ECL 21. It's very much happening. We're very much not going anywhere here with the European Cricket Project. But just before we go today, there is some important other news to announce. There's the cricket quiz on www.ecn.cricket this week, opening at 6 a.m. on Friday and closing on Sunday night. There'll be 6 questions up there. And if you enter, you might get a chance to win a lovely pair of kicks from Painter, who are our shoe partners. And yeah, they've got some fine gear there and some brilliant stuff on their website about the story linking their family tree to the Bodyline series. Going a little bit further back, one person who did exactly that, I remember as well that you can check out the website, www.ecn.cricket. But just to confirm, for those waiting on this, the winner of last week's quiz, congratulations, it's Alex Forsey from Gosport in Hampshire. There were quite a few people who managed to get 6 out of 6 correct, so had to randomly draw one through all of those, and he was the winner. So very much congratulations go out to you, Alex. I understand we've already been in touch to get your address and your shoe size, and if you want to win a lovely pair of Painter shoes, then make sure you get over to www.ecn.cricket. That is pretty much us for today, but remember that we're here Monday to Thursday, 5 p.m. Central European Time. You can get your questions in via @ThisIsMcCann or @European Cricket for Joe Gatting for the interactive chat on Wednesday, where we'll have a couple of other guests to discuss all things European cricket coming off the back of that big announcement. And there's the Maximo Show with special guest Eugene Molian, who was known as the Flying Bus from last year's competition. He truly was one of the great characters that came through at the 2019 European Cricket League. But for today, that is us. Thank you very much for joining us. We've been up above 50 at various points during this stream. So a virtual bat raise, I guess. But for now, it is good night and goodbye.